Hello, Pisces. Thank you very much for tuning in to this week's read. For the main part of the read, I'm using Legacy of the Divine Tarot by Cyril Marchetti. Website is, I think it's at the bottom, llewellyn.com. It's at the beginning of that line, if I can get the glare off of it. Feel free to check that out if you'd like to. He's usually connected with Barbara Moore, too, I think. I don't see Barbara Moore on here. But anyway, Supportive Oracle Cards, Chakra Wisdom Oracle Cards by Tori Hartman, illustrated by Gretchen Raish Baskin. Website on this one, watkinspublishing.co.uk or watkinspublishing.com. If you look in the back there, feel free to freeze frame. There's also torihartman.com. Feel free to check out anything there that you'd like. Pisces. What do we have? Because this is a Pisces reading, I feel like you're in your element. Okay, so that's good. Things are good. Don't get stuck. Okay. Gotta be careful not to get stuck. But it might be one of those things where you actually go on pause, but what would get you stuck is feeling bad about it. Because I feel like Pisces, I'm a Pisces too. I feel like Pisces, we have to take breaks. I feel like that's like, it's either we take a break or we burn out, and then that's not so good. But if we take breaks and we give ourselves a break about taking a break, like we don't beat ourselves up about it, like, oh, I should have done that, and I'm behind on this. I feel like that makes the load heavier. And I'm getting like, empowering yourself to keep going, but like addressing that every now and then you do burn yourself out, and you got to give yourself some credit for getting as far as you have, and just to not beat yourself up. I do feel like a lot of times Pisces go well with a schedule, but the thing is, the trick is to not overwhelm yourself. So if there's a project that you want to do, you pick a time of day that's good for you. For me, for example, it's usually I'm most effective in the morning. I'm not saying I like to be, but I am. I don't know how to explain that. But the longer the day goes, the less I am. So, and say it's one of those things where it's like, I think this is going to take me a while, but I want to make significant distance on it per week. So maybe this is one of those things where you can do it like 10 to 15 minutes every morning. Maybe this is one of those things where, if you're doing mornings, maybe Saturday and Sunday, twice a week, 15, 20 minutes a morning. Whatever's right for you, but you just kind of stick to that schedule. But the trick is to not burn yourself out. I've seen for some people, maybe it's once a week, there's a certain time of day, maybe it's Wednesday at 5 p.m., for example, and you make this pact with yourself, I'm going to do it for at least 15 minutes, but I'm going to make sure that I don't go more than whatever your burnout time is. So maybe you can only go a half an hour, then all of a sudden you start to feel like, oh, this is going on, but I don't want to give up. Like, set limits, like at least this much time, no more than that time, and kind of like realize where you start burning yourself out. I feel like we've talked about this before. Is this a repeat? I don't know. There's something else coming in, because you are making headway. Other people do things other ways, and that might be the thing. I feel like that's obvious that other people do things other ways, but some people, they're like, for example, they do an hour in the morning, hour in the afternoon, hour at night. 3 hours a day, every day. Boom, 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 boom. They do it. They get a lot done. They're super duper. But that's them. Some people, but because I'm getting this workaholic. Like if somebody's doing like whatever they're doing, they do an hour. They get up early. They do an hour. Their lunch they spend doing the same thing. They have an hour lunch. They spend it doing whatever they're doing again. And at night when they get home, they spend another hour. They do this every day. And on the weekends, they do an hour in the morning, hour in the afternoon, hour at night. Whatever it is their goal is, they just put that type of effort into whatever they're doing. That like the word workaholic, like that's a lot. I wouldn't say that that's wrong for them. I don't know if it's right for them, but I don't think it's right for me to say it's wrong for them. But the energy I'm feeling for the Pisces I'm connecting to is like that is going to wipe you out. Say you're successful doing that for a week, maybe even 2. It's sooner or later it's going to start breaking you. You're going to start dreading it. It's going to feel like such a burden, and you're just going to feel like you can never escape. So like, trying not to compete with others. Trying to not compete with others. I feel like that's where we're going with this. Trying to not. And not letting others try to like box us in and make us compete with them. Because there are people who like that. I can do a backflip and stand on my nose and you can barely walk. Well, you're talented at that. But then again, maybe you as the Pisces are very great with art and they couldn't, draw a line to save their life. I'm just saying, everybody has their own things. We shouldn't be comparing. Be careful of that. Because I feel like you might get sucked into something. You got to be careful. Or somebody else might be trying to suck you into it. Things I use, Paul McKenna, I've probably mentioned him before, How to Mend Your Broken Heart. It is geared towards romantic relationships, I believe. You can edit it for any type of relationship or situation. That might help you detach if somebody is kind of pulling that on you to where, they can say what they want, but it's just as, I think the drag queen's name is, she just won her second title too. What was her name? She says water off a duck's back. I can't remember her name. I can't believe I can't remember her name. Monsoon. Jinx Monsoon. It's kind of like that, just water off a duck's back. Because I see you have to go on your own pace. You have to set your own pace, you have to go at your own pace. Whatever this is, I feel like whatever this is, you're in this weird place where it's kind of like if you set your own pace and you step away from other people's opinions about whatever you're doing and you don't attach your worth to how somebody else is doing, you have to look at it both ways. Don't let somebody suck you in, but don't suck yourself into somebody else's pattern. If you're able to do this successfully, you will have success. The thing is, I do feel like there's this moment where you're like, I'm not as far along as somebody else, or somebody else would have done this, or somebody this, or somebody that. Be careful. You're gonna cheat yourself out of a victory is what I'm worried about. Knowing yourself, knowing how you do things. That's kind of like one of the things for Pisces. To be at peace with how you do it and make it the way you need to do it. Create your own situation and not, compare yourself to others. It's a big thing. Pisces like to dream. There's a lot of these cards coming in. The thing is with Pisces, and I'm saying this as a Pisces, there's a high amount of creativity there. The trick is to dream, but not to only dream. To tangibly put that into reality. The thing is, Pisces, that's one of our lifebloods. We do dream. That's one of the things that really ignites us. It keeps us going. But it's like being aware of it and not letting yourself do it so much that nothing happens. You will do this. It's just part of being a Pisces. Pisces do this. I feel like the Pisces who connect us, like if you feel that Pisces energy, it's just one of those things that gets us through life. It's just remembering, like, for every 10 dreams you have, maybe only one comes true. Maybe only one has an actual possibility. It's allowing the other ones, but keep working on the ones that you can make happen. And giving yourself your own pace, your own style, your own way of doing it. You will have a bump. You will end up getting stuck. You will kind of stagnate at some point. The thing is, if you don't let guilt rule you, you will become unstuck from that, and you will continue on at some point. Just if you let guilt rule you, the longer guilt rules you, the longer you're going to get stuck in this card, and you might even change goals. If you keep changing goals, if we keep starting different things, we don't complete anything, like, we get cheated out of our success that way too. That can be a Pisces thing. It can be. I feel like the trick is to not beat yourself up, to not guilt yourself, to not let that be there. Even if somebody else is trying to push that on you, which happens. I know. Sometimes that happens. That book, the best thing I can think of for that. Or distancing yourself from people like that. This will happen in your own pace. It's just kind of like not over-guilting yourself, not guilting yourself, and like giving yourself that moment to have a break, and then like letting yourself come back to it when you're ready. A schedule, a pace, if you set a pace that's more successful, I think I've mentioned this before. I don't know if I've mentioned this recently. I feel like I've done this reading. Maybe I did this for a client. I had a room in the upstairs of my house. It was a catch-all for everything. There was a lot of stuff in there. So, and I was so overwhelmed by it, I probably ignored it for 3 years and probably kept adding stuff to it. It wasn't like gross, but there was just a lot of stuff in there. And it's just kind of like a lot of stuff, like, what is the point? Like, why have all this stuff? Should I just throw it out? Because I don't even know what's in there. So the point is, how I overcame that, because that room has been taken care of now, I had to create a thing where I was spending anywhere from 15 minutes to half an hour. At least 15 minutes I would be in there, no more than a half an hour. And I did this every day for like 3 months. I think it was like 3 months. So in some days it was just barely 15 minutes. I would literally set my phone for 15 minutes because I didn't want to do it. And I thought to myself, if I can at least do 15 minutes, we'll be fine. So I would be in there for 15 minutes. I'd try to get stuff done. And then at the end, if I was just kind of like, I don't want to do it anymore, I would just stop. I was also trying to do it at the same time of day. I think it was like midday whenever I was doing it. It took me 3 months to do it, but it's done. And it got done. And I'm okay. I'm at peace with that, personally. Because if I had not done it that way, it would still be the way it was. So that's what works for me. So if you can set up a schedule, you might find great success that way. That might be a way to do for you. But it has to be realistic for you. Like, not like pie in the sky. Like, I'm going to do an hour in the morning, an hour in the afternoon, an hour at night, and I'm going to do this to the end of time. You probably burn yourself out. Just be careful. Also, allow yourself to adjust your tempo. Why am I using tempo now? I don't know. But tempo. Allow yourself to adjust it. So if you're doing, say you're a little bit more ambitious and say you're going to be, I'm going to do 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes in the afternoon, and 15 minutes in the evening. I'm going to, like, at least 15, no more than half an hour, but I'm going to do this 3 times a day. But then you're starting to see, like, well, I thought that was good. Maybe the first week it was okay, but now it's starting to drain me. Allow yourself to adjust it. Maybe I don't need that one at the end of the night. And then keep going with the first 2 and see how you feel after that. And again, if you keep going, you're like, well, even doing these 2 seems like it's overwhelming. Bring it down to the 1 in the morning. And just keep going with that, because you still keep getting progress. If you're doing something like that every day, you're still getting, even though, because I feel like the danger is kind of like, oh, I was doing like from, 45 minutes to an hour and a half every day, and now I'm down to 15 minutes. I'm barely doing the 15 minutes, but you're still doing the 15 minutes. Don't beat yourself up. Don't be your worst enemy. Be careful of that. I think as a Pisces myself, I feel like we do that to ourselves. But you'll let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. Anything else? All right, I'm going to shut this down here. I hope that helps. Thank you for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below. Same email. Thank you again for watching, and have a great day.